Oh, shiza, we just came in with me making sure my hairs weren't sticking out of my nose if you're watching on YouTube. Welcome, everybody, if it's a few minutes past 11 o'clock on a Saturday late morning. Welcome to the Club with Lucas here on RCE 106.9, part of the English radio family here. I am so happy to be here with you, and happy holidays, everybody. Let's say it. Happy Christmukkah Kwanzaa, everybody. Yes, the holidays are on their way right now, and we are happy for that. In fact, I think we all need a little bit of holidays, right? A little bit of cheer because, well, Donald Trump has given us Christmas back, you guys. Oh, my God, we can, tote say it. And after January 20th, the world is going to explode. Surely I jest. I do. Or do I? And I will not call you Shirley. But we are happy to have you here today on the Club with Lucas, and I'm very, very excited because a beautiful man has just flown his way over to celebrate with us on this fake Christmukkah Kwanzaa thing, because actually next week I'm going to be more than likely out of town, as well as for Reyes. And so we're going to be seeing you right before the first for the New Year's show. Yeah, it's the end of year show, I guess we're going to say, on Dia de los Inocentes, which is actually the Spanish and or Catalan kind of like April Fool's Day for my international audience. But Mr. Beautiful, we'll call him Mr. Beautiful, Christopher Macken, a creative beauty businessman and TV personality, a.k.a. Mansions and Mascara, for those of you on Tick to the Talk, Instagram and Facebook. Mansions and Mascara, Mr. Christopher Macken is going to be joining us in here. He's got an incredible history. And we just had a beautiful dinner last night, so if you see big bags under my eyes because you're watching this later on YouTube or right now, you already know. But I want you to grab your favorite poison, because we also have a second hour coming up with something beautiful that we're launching this weekend as well, which is yet another podcast with yours truly and my beautiful queen, Kelly Ellis, from Los Angeles. Actually, we are launching a podcast. Number 8, I believe it is, actually, with Dr. Kevin Patterson. That's going to be coming up on the second hour. And boy, oh boy, we are keeping it within the community. And by the community, I mean everybody, because everyone's a little bit queer. But we're definitely talking LGBTQI+ and women today, and a lot more. We also have a lot of music to get to, and I'm not going to make it all Christmassy. We're actually going to be doing a little more Christmassy and stuff like that at the holiday season when we do our holiday show and New Year's End show before Reyes in the new year on the 28th, everybody. But we've got so much to get to today as well. So, folks, remember, you can follow the goodness of the podcast at Design Meets Live Podcast on Spotify and Instagram, as well as following us on YouTube, which we are now mounting. And remember, my beautiful people, you can also follow my beautiful self at the Club with Lucas on Instagram. For now, the Club W Lucas will be changing to Threads and Blue Spring. It's Blue Sky in January, but that's also going to be the Club W Lucas. And of course, you can watch us with your peepholes at 106.9 FM on YouTube, and catch us all over the beautiful state of Catalonia at 106.9 FM and RCE.cat. Now, because of everything that's going on, we're going to be throwing a little bit of amp music, a little bit of nostalgia as well. And this one is from a woman named Kiki. Now, the name immediately stood out to me because we're going to have a lot of a Kiki today with Mr. Macken, Sir Mansions and Mascara. But also on top of that, my sister's name is Christine. When I was little and I could not pronounce her name, so we would call her Kiki. And one of my best friends, shout out Kiki Shakti, another radio DJ and live streamer out in New Mexico, holding down the front for the Democrats and lovers of democracy in the United States of America. We'll get to that shit in just a minute. But this is Love is So Unreal, because sometimes life is so unreal. And this is Kiki. Remember, catch the jams live right now on 106.9 FM, and we'll be back in 4 minutes.
I don't wanna stay. Love is so unreal. You have shown me ways. Love is so unreal. I don't wanna stay. Love is so unreal. You have shown me ways. Love is so unreal. I don't wanna stay. Love is so unreal. You have shown me ways. Love is so unreal. I don't wanna stay. Love is so unreal. You have shown me ways. Love is so unreal. I don't wanna stay. Love is so unreal. You have shown me ways. Love is so unreal. I don't wanna
Oh, God, I love it, love it, love it. That was Kiki. And also, you can catch all of those beautiful stuff as well, not only live, but also on YouTube. Remember, folks, you can follow us. As I say, 11 o'clock on the clock at 106.9 FM here on YouTube as well. So you can watch us with your peepholes. And I also wanted to say, I want to give a mad shout out to the Soulful Trio. We actually entered in that little funky jazzy number with the Soulful Trio and my beautiful man, Lucas Herrera Fernandez Music. You can also catch him at Lucas Herrera Musica. They have just launched their new CD. In fact, they had it at Jamboree, their release party this last Wednesday evening. And you can find them on the 22nd because they're going to be playing lots of shows all over the place. So start looking those guys up and follow them as well on Instagram. Now, let's get to some news because we can all use a little bit of clues. It's been a while. It's a little bit of a hot minute since we were last together. But so much as usual is going on in our beautiful world, and this is where we live, so at least some of us do here on Earth 1. There are others who choose to live on Earth 2, but we'll get to that in a minute. For example, the fallout still continues after the local and political drama behind, you already know, the flooding and natural disasters that happened in Valencia and the surrounding provinces. Of course, our, not just thoughts and prayers, our energy, good vibes, and high vibrations go to the people there who are actually on the ground, specifically helping those in need. Now, meanwhile, there is also going to be a push to bring down a little bit of the Sanchez administration because of their possible entanglements with people who were making deals for masks and other accoutrements that were necessary during the pandemic's beginnings. Now, of course, this is not just implicating him. This is not implicating him at all. In fact, it's implicating people who were connected to the Socialist Party as well as people in the PP, and specifically someone who's already been slapped on the wrist for that, which is Madrid Mayor Isabel Ayuso and her husband, well, ex-boyfriend now, I believe it is. She's on the loose. Ay, Ayuso, quiero ser tu pinche muso. We won't get into that shit right now. However, it's also true that his wife Begonia Sanchez, is also under investigation right now for possible fiscal fraud with her company and some of her business dealings. Now, as of today, despite the investigations, nothing has been proven against the Sanchez family or the administration, but it has to be noted that as we wrap up 2024, I do want to also make some mentions of mother effing facts up in here, and that would be that Spain apparently will be taking the lead, if not as the top, per capita, of course. One of the tops, it should be number 2 or 1, of the top players in the country with the biggest fiscal growth per capita this year. In fact, post-pandemic, most fiscal leaders were pushing for a growth rate of at least 1.5 to 2%, and it looks like Spain is going to be coming out with very near 3%, somewhere between 2.9 and 3.1% growth, as we are nearly doubling what was anticipated at the beginning of this fiscal year. So that is actually not bad news for us as we move into the holiday season. Now, let's get to something else that's been going on, because around the world and around the corner of around the world, the fall of the Syrian regime happened over the last few days, and it has been an astounding thing to watch. The family Assad, and of course that's ass and ad, put it together, children of the corn. The family Assad has been running Syria for decades, and what is very interesting is that at the beginning of the month of December, little by little, a period of periods or little collections of group of militia fighters not only took over the government, they also took over the buildings of the government. They were able to oust the leader, who he and his wife have now moved their mother effing asses to Russia. Meanwhile, Russia's forces now, we know of deaths, severe injuries, and people who are not on the battlefield anymore have passed over 1 million casualties, fatal or not, as well as their incorporation of North Korea to help them with soldiers who, as I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, still continue to be inundated by pornography on their phones, which continues to be a running joke in Russia. Aside from that, the fall of Syria has actually happened. This has been going on since the Arab Spring. They have taken over, and they're not only set to commence rule, but also intend to have a complete overhaul of everything that had been going on in the former administration for the past, well, decades, really. What we are also discovering, and this has been some incredible reporting by CNN International, so I do have to give a shout out to them, and specifically Lady Clarissa Ward, who is just an amazing, amazing reporter. So if you don't follow her, please do that, because as we want to do, we are building up an independent, fact-based, democracy-loving entertainment system of media outlets here in Barcelona, and not only for the expat community, but I highly, highly recommend journalists of her ilk. That is Lady Clarissa Ward. And we have discovered that not only were there thousands, if not scores of thousands of people in torture prisons, but the amount of collection of goods that have been ransacked and have been taken, or being discovered rather, within the Assad family compound is insane. Rows and rows and rows. We're talking Jamiroquai, JK, mother effing levels of not just classic, but insanely expensive luxury cars, while people have been eating rocks. Of course, they have flown over to the border region of Russia, and they can go lump themselves and kick themselves over a ledge. And if you don't know about the wife of Assad, I ask you to go down a little Google rabbit hole and find about her connections with England. We'll talk about that in another segment, or not. Now, let's talk about that. Go figure. Anyway, meanwhile, everything is being prepared for the Trump second administration to be entering and his merry band of clowns on January 20th. Now, of course, this is going to be the second inauguration of him coming into the White House. And what is being talked about right now, specifically as they prepare for the inauguration, is that many people are surprised with the people that he's actually inviting to this inauguration. It is being rumored that he's even jokingly invited people like Russia, but of course, Russia's Putin, but of course he won't show up. But Viktor Orban is supposed to be coming. He's also invited President Xi of China to attend this event. Apparently, Trump has been offering these invites to foreign leaders through calls and back channels, but it's still being speculated as who will be showing up to this administration event on January 20th, and of course, it will not have a resounding effect of actual, real musical stars and things of that nature to usher him in. Now, almost all of the people that are entering his administration is what's really causing the drama and just, in a way, loud, hysterical, as we show a mirror to society of what's happening. In fact, 13, I count them, 13 Fox News Entertainment News. Let's call that entertainment news. I don't call it news. Fox Entertainment Infotainment Show. 13 of those people and broadcasters are going to be joining his administration. He is actually moving his son, Donald Trump Jr., who's been caught as of this past week with some New York socialite who's a much younger thing, and he's moving his current girlfriend, Kimberly Guilfoyle, who incidentally was the wife of current California Governor Gavin Newsom. He's moving Kimberly Guilfoyle over to be an ambassador in Greece, so bye. And all of these things, will be happening. Now, I want you to imagine if the leader, or let's say the spokesman for those of us here in Spain and Catalonia, of La Hormiguera or La Resistencia, or let's take it to England with Graham Norton, or perhaps Stephen Colbert, became leaders of administrations like the Defense Department, the Security Council. This is the stuff that's happening, and of course, this is what's turning everything into a bit of a laughingstock. Now, Trump continues to insist that he's going to be charging the people that are importing goods from outside of the country with tariffs as much as between 20 and 50% for every product that is brought in. He says that will be the answer to solving any financial issues within the United States. Again, the United States is close behind Spain as closing with the strongest economy, or highest growth rather, and the strongest economy of the world. But he also made mention to Kristen Walker, who was on Meet the Press this week, that he has no way, absolutely no way of ensuring anything, and that prices will be going down. In fact, he truthed out in the middle of the night over the weekend, or last weekend rather, that Americans need to expect for prices to go up, and then Elon Musk reiterated that by tweeting the next mother effing day that, yeah, Americans will have to be prepared to suffer for a while, and I'm paraphrasing this, before the good can actually happen. I want to remind everybody that nearly half of all the lumber of the United States that comes for making constructions within the United States comes from Canada. That would be tariffed. Over 80% of the country's avocados comes from Mexico. In fact, nearly 50% of all the fruits and vegetables within the United States are not grown within the United States. They are imported. Okay. The thing is, this is eventually going to affect our markets as well here in Europe, and that's the scary mother effing thing, because we live in a globalized economy, children of the corn. I think we all know that. So that could affect things because, for example, Spain imports so much different types of not just like olive oil, but natural oil and things of that nature to the tune of scores and scores and scores of billions. Now, if 30-40% tariffs get added to that, we're going to have to rack up prices here, which will then affect our economy. That might then affect the industry, which will mean laying off people, which could then lead to recession. And this is what's it keeps on happening. There's a massive, massive drama, of course, going on with the administrations in power, as well as their fiscal administrations in France and Germany, and that affects all of us. Last thing, South Korea almost had a massive coup d'etat as a major democracy, and the people that shot the head of Alliance Healthcare CEO, a gentleman. Some people call him that. Some people call him a murderer. I can definitely attest that he is allegedly a murderer, but he's also a good-looking one, and his name is Luigi Mangione. He was caught at a McDonald's in Philadelphia. He shot the man, very John Wick style, on the streets of New York City at 6 a.m. last Wednesday, a week and a half ago. And he was on a manhunt for almost 10 days. They finally found him in a corner of a McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania. The person who called him in, this is a fun fact, they called the police, the local police, so that means that that person will probably not be getting the $60,000 reward that was out on them because they were supposed to call the reward hotline. Is that fair? Oh, you guys. That's why we scream money can't be everything, because it's never innocent. That's a shitty segue into Primal Scream, whose lead singer died this year, or last year rather, so we need to give a mad shout out. But they actually have culminated the rest of their album that they were recording when he passed away. And Primal Scream, if you don't know who they are, look them up. Specifically, go to their album, Screamadelica, found wherever good music is streamed. And remember, we're going to throw their new single, Innocent Money, out right now. This is 3.5 minutes of love and ditty. Remember, you can catch the jams live on 106.9 FM and RCE.mothereffingcat. We'll be right back.
They've got no clue that he still shoes entertainment blues, and the world keeps turning just a little more, and all he can hope for is some money to score, some money to score. Innocent money, we place all our trust in it. Innocent money, we pray to our gods for it. Innocent money. Nostalgia, the ego is wrong.
children of the corn. Guess what? I am not alone in the studio. For to my left, you're right if you're watching us with your peepholes. Mr. Oh my God, I was thinking mascara man. Mr. Matches and Mascara, Christopher Macken is sitting right next to me. And hey, remember you can follow that little mother lover at Matches and Mascara on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook, right?
That's right.
Welcome, Boppy. Welcome to Barcelona as well.
Thank you.
You've just been here a few days.
Bienvenuto, right?
Benvinguts, de veritat.
God, it's a thing. I'm learning.
Bienvenidos in castellano, benvinguts aquí in Catalunya, in Catalan. But my beautiful brother sitting over here from another mother is actually deciding on the possibility of lives in different states, in different countries, maybe.
Yeah.
You know, having your base in the U.S., obviously.
I mean, I'm an American by birth. I mean, you know, I grew up there. I grew up in a very small town, and then as I got older, I was able to travel a lot, and that's when I really fell in love with Europe. And then I fell in love with a European, and
as you do, love, as you do.
Here I am.
Okay, yeah. I don't want that music to be playing. Okay, here's another question. When you say you fell in love with when you fell in love with a European, is that's not the only reason maybe that you want to be having some more ground here, perhaps? Or
Currently, no.
Oh, hi. And that's what we want to get to over here on the Club with Lucas, because truthiness makes me feel wet down there. And honestly, a lot of decisions, we were talking over dinner last night, and one of these decisions, before we get to the nitty-gritty, because you know how at the club we want to take it back to the origin roots, of course. But one of the things that came up last night was certainly the past elections of a month and a half ago have affected some decisions.
Yeah, it was a tough day. I mean, I think all of us went to bed with one notion of what was going, kind of happen, and then we woke up to a different reality. And
how did you feel at that moment, if I may ask? Excuse me for interrupting.
Actually, physically nauseous.
Yeah.
The first 4 years weren't so dandy, and so this, and I know that.
What you talking about?
People will argue that, right? They go, "Oh no, it was great," and I'm like, "Okay, but what? Huh?" People have a very short-term memory. I won't speak about globally, but in the United States, people have a very short-term memory, and so they tend to remember that, there was not inflation at that time, but then they also forget how inflation began, and
who was leading when it started,
right? And so it's an interesting place that we are, because I have seen a devolution of identity.
A devolution, I love that.
Yeah.
In which way, Hefe?
Please understand that this is coming from a perspective of an American who was raised American, and that also comes along with certain ideologies and propagandas that we're taught our entire life, that we are the best in the world, everyone else is not as good as us, everyone else wants to be us. That is something that is literally embedded in you every single day, from church to school to your homes, and so then it was America sticks up for the underdog, and we go in and we protect other countries, which I completely understand it now that I'm not a Gaby, that there are way more nuanced situations than that and involved in that. But at this point, America doesn't know who she is anymore. And we have found ourselves in a place that through a pursuit of profit, we found ourselves in a crisis of conscience. And that is where I think I have a bit of an emotional, spiritual, and internal struggle.
Okay. The guru was not there last night, and the guru has come out right now. And he's speaking truthiness right
The
now.
guru was buzzed.
We had a beautiful shout out, Eugenia and Nokandanchu. That everything, you took the words right out of my mouth, PJ.
Hi.
And you're coming from Midgeville? Scheiße.
Milledgeville, Georgia. In Milledgeville, Georgia, a very historical town for two reasons.
Why, sir? Tell us why.
One, it was the capital of Georgia during the Civil War. So I was telling you last night, there's only 2 cities in the United States that were pre-built and planned to be capital cities, Washington, D.C. and Milledgeville, Georgia. So Milledgeville was only the capital for a period of time. A lot of people think Atlanta was always the capital. It was not. Atlanta was not even called Atlanta all the time. It started off as Marthasville. Did you know?
You're talking about etiquette in the story, so I'm freaking out right now.
And then it became a really cool name, Terminus.
Really?
Yes, because where all the train stations came together.
That's what I was going to ask.
And then it became Atlanta.
And now it's Hotlanta.
No one says that.
No, oh, really?
Not if you're from there.
Shit.
That's how we
Learn,
know.
children. Learn. That's how we know you're not from there.
When people come to Atlanta, they're like, "Oh, I'm so glad I'm in Hotlanta." I'm like, "Okay, dokie."
Okay, this is not a Real Housewives moment. Now,
No.
how do you feel about Atlanta now?
I love Atlanta. Atlanta's very liberal. Atlanta is the blue beating heart inside of our very red state.
Okay.
Democrat Republican reference,
Yeah,
in case you don't know. And so I live in a bubble, and sometimes it's very easy to forget that outside of that bubble, life is very different. And for me, Atlanta's very liberal. It is very pro people of color, pro LGBTQIA, pro immigrant. We are the number one, from what I understand, the number one location and city in the country for minority entrepreneurs. So there's a lot of small business startups there, big tech community, and is one of the number one filming destinations in the world.
Damn right.
So we're not Hollywood, but we're Yollywood. And that I think is something that makes Atlanta better, because we have all of these different people. I told my father one time, because I was speaking with my family who has completely different political beliefs than I do. Surprise, from Georgia, right? I was speaking with him, and I said, "Look, here's the thing. Because he was asking, why is it that Atlanta shouldn't dictate what happens in the rest of the state? Atlanta being so liberal shouldn't dictate what happens in the rest of the state. It doesn't matter that Atlanta is the beating heart of Georgia. It's the financial core of Georgia. So it's the 7th largest city in the nation, right? So that's the number one airport in the world, busiest airport in the world.
Right.
That's a crazy thing. So, but when he asked that, I said, well, that's a very simple thing that I can answer in 3 ways. And he said, okay. And I said, where in the state do you think has the highest net worth income earners? He said, I'm assuming you're going to say Atlanta. Not assuming, that is what it is. Where in the state do you think has the highest level of higher educated people? Atlanta, right? And number 3, and I think this is probably culturally the most significant, where in the state of Georgia has the highest rate of people living in a close proximity to people not like them? Atlanta. So when I walk out of my house, there's a mosque, there's a church. There, you have Christian institutions, you have Islam institutions, and everyone coexists peacefully.
Like in the city, like
We
New
like
York,
each other,
like here, yeah.
right? I couldn't sit here and tell you how many black friends I have, how many Sikh friends I have, how many Muslim friends I have, how many Christian friends I have, how many atheist friends I have, because I've never taken inventory.
Yeah.
Because that's not the way Atlanta operates. So for that, I really love Atlanta. Atlanta is a very different city, honey. If you do not like gay people or black people, do not move there.
It is, again, it becomes that essence of the melting pot, which the United States is not, but certain cities are.
Yeah.
Definitely. One of the songs that you chose for today is something that it's going to be a perfect lead in afterwards to Origin Roots.
Yeah.
There in Atlanta, and then what brought us over here. It's RuPaul. It's from 2004. It's from 20 years ago when we were children.
I was just sissying that walk right over here this morning.
We were children, exactly. Sachet.
I'm
Shantae.
still 17.
Okay. Well, I'm 20. I'm 29. And as someone who was around at that time, looking good, feeling gorgeous. That's what we're going to play right now. Remember, you can catch the Gems live on 106.9 FM and rce.cat, and with your peepholes at 106.9 FM as well. However, on YouTube, when we come back, can we talk about that story?
Yeah.
Poor favor?
Absolutely.
All right, this is Lady Rue, and we'll be right back in 3 minutes, Children of the Corn.
How do I look? player. Yes, I'm confident and self-assured. No holding back, not like before. I do what I want, can't settle for less. Not trying to phone it, I just want something. How do I look? You look good. How do I feel? You feel good. How do I look? You look good. You're looking good and feeling good. How do I look? You look good. How do I feel? You feel good. How do I look? You look good. You're looking good and feeling gorgeous. What? You think I'm one of them chicken heads? Touch this skin, honey. Touch all of this skin, darling. You can't take it. You're just an overgrown orangutan. Hand me my BlackBerry, honey. I got a test message in my agency. No, not the escort agency, honey, the modeling agency. Okay, I gotta make those coins, girl. Oh, yes, I look good. I feel good. Yes, I'm back, baby. You look good. I'm back to let you have it. You look good. You're looking good and feeling good. How do I look? You look good. How do I feel? You feel good. How do I look? You look good. You're looking good and feeling gorgeous. Yes, honey. 10s across the board. You look good. 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. You're looking good and feeling gorgeous. Legendary.
Oh, yeah, that was Lady Ruin. We're going to just get to one quick anecdote about that, an origin story, as well, of Mr. Christopher Macken, as well as Matches and Mascara on IG and TikTok and FB. But he was coming home and we were talking about the fact that he had to hit up a 24-hour stop is what we're calling it. And there's been a big hullabaloo this past year because there are little 24/7 shops that are popping up around the city, and they're mostly owned usually by either Pakistanis or a couple by Latinos. And our Spanish and Catalan brothers and sisters don't like that because I'm sure we have that in Atlanta. We generally have that.
We literally have
Literally.
huge warehouse stores that are 24 hours a day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, oh, are you talking about fucking Walmart?
Walmart.
I forget about Walmart.
Yes, honey.
Now, y'all don't know about Walmart, y'all.
They're rolling back prices. Don't you know? all that China stuff that you love to buy.
What we're going to be doing made in America, tell you what now.
Sure,
Because
we
Trump's
are.
going to give us that. He's going to give us Christmas.
Sure.
And that's how it's going to be. But, oh my God, when that Texas shit comes out, it's scary, right? Well, we're going to do fucking Brooklyn now, y'all. But when you're dealing with that, I have not thought of Walmart. And so I have not been into Walmart since the 90s.
Same. I've actually stopped going to Walmart.
I do
if at
like
all
Target.
possible. I like it. I like it. Okay. I will go there if I have to. I try my best to find a store that maybe a little smaller or
Mom and
locally
pop
owned.
shop?
Yeah, I try.
Okay, we're huge about that on this show because the mom and pop shops are being thrown out because of things like Temu, Shane, Alibaba, and of course, Jeff Bezos' Amazon, which we spit at. However, I wanted to go back to... I knew that was going to happen. He said, I doubt. However, we won't talk about that, Californian. I want to go to the origin story of what led up to needing Feeling Good, Looking Gorgeous by RuPaul. Because coming from the Deep South, I was born in the Southwest and then raised over in New York City and grew up some of my time there.
New York City.
Tell you, get a rope. And
I love that you got that reference. I
Yeah.
love that you remember that.
Pace
reference.
Pecani, y'all. And what was your coming out process? If we can talk about that.
It was delightful. Everyone was supportive, and I didn't need therapy. No, my coming out process was traumatic, but at the same time, I'm not gonna pretend like mine was so horrible and everybody else had it easy. I grew up in, again, small town Georgia. My grandfather was a Southern Baptist minister and a prominent one too, very well known Southern Baptist minister and beloved. He was wonderful, and. My family was prominent in town, or is. My mom was one of the first women in the Rotary Club that they inducted. She was I think, the first vice president of Rotary, and she was my mom was the quintessential 1980s ball busting businesswoman. Mm-hmm. You know, if she saw a pair of pumps back then it was Rich's before it became Macy's. that she liked, she bought them in every color. And the big earrings, and she had like a buzzed haircut. Like, she was, she was it. When I went to high school, well, first of all, I went to military school. Don't know if you knew that, but I was a military school kid. Wow. So for 3 years, I went to military school at that same castle in the middle of the town that was the former capital of Georgia. And I can remember sitting in gym class in 6th grade, the second day of my 6th grade year, when I can't believe I'm saying this, Coach Todd Simpson walked in. And y'all, let me tell you, I thought that was the most amazing specimen of human I had ever seen in my entire life. He was jimmy-jawed and pigeon-toed. And he was athletic and could run and just masculine. Is it getting warm in here? No, I'm just teasing. So I knew then, that's when I tell everyone that I got the memo, but I didn't want to read it yet. So, so then after that, it involved a lot of every night before bed praying that God would make me like girls because really thought that was going to work. Yeah. And I thought that if I prayed hard enough and if I loved God enough, that God would fix me.
Being the operative word.
Yeah. And of course, there were moments in my life that I recall, an aunt or a family member speaking with someone else, not about me, but just in general about gay people. And that left this scar inside me. I don't know what I would do if one of my children was. I would disown my child, blah, blah. And so it just drove you further into this place of self-loathing and self-hatred. So I was, obviously I'm in 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, you're not dating. You're not, dating in the traditional sense. I mean, you have a girlfriend or a boyfriend that you sit with at lunch, right? That's not quite the same. So then in high school, I was recruited to a liberal arts high school for theater and dance. I'm a dancer. And when I went over there, I met someone who I was friends with. I won't get too specific on here, but I met someone who I was friends with and I fell in love with, and we had a romantic first puppy love kind of thing. And at that point, I realized that this was something that I couldn't pray away. Yeah. And and I have no problem talking about this. I hope the listeners don't mind hearing it. This is not a sob story, but I decided to try to take my own life at 17 because of the fact that I was gay. I felt like, that it was better for me to do that and go back with God than to accept myself and love myself for who I was. So
thank God you survived.
Yeah, thank God it didn't work. I took 47 prescription pills, but nobody tells you that antidepressants are designed to not be able to do the job. Really? Yeah, they just make you real sleepy for a while. So, but at 17, you thought that was a logical answer. It wasn't. And so, saying all that, I ended up coming out in a hospital. I had to stay in a hospital for a period of time. My minister actually came to visit me, and he asked me if I was gay. Oh, wow. And I can remember saying, hypothetically, if I was, what does that mean for my relationship with God? He said, I believe that God made you the way you are. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is the first time I'm hearing this. This is amazing. I have a confidant, somebody who is embracing me, right?
Your pastor said that?
Yep. But then it gets better. He gets home and tells his son, who I was in school with, who then goes to school and tells the entire school.
Shit.
So I was outed.
Are you kidding me?
Nope. I'm serious.
I started getting emotional, and then that shit?
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, it was a really heartwarming thing. And then I realized that not every being that's wearing sheep's clothing is a sheep. There's wolves out there. So that made a big impact on me, and I kind of pulled away from the church for a bit.
Did you even want to go back to school after that?
I didn't actually. Because people stole hubcaps off my car, threw rocks at my windows. It was a lot of phone calls from people saying, I love you, but I nor God approve of what you're doing. It was just this whole rigmarole. At this point, the pendulum had swung, honey, because I used to be over here being like, no, I swear I'm straight. And then went all the way over here, and all of a sudden I'm wearing rainbow puka shells and, you know, I love it. You know, trying to learn every word to every Cher song ever because I think that's going to be better for me somehow. And it was. No,
It always is. It's Cher.
yeah. But so then when I came out, that's when I had to then start the journey of finding my tribe and my chosen family. And I thought, and maybe you can relate to this. I really thought that, I'm going to come out into the gay community, and they're going to embrace me, and it's going to be great. And I was like, oh no, these people are not all nice. So you have to find your little nugget
tribe.
of tribe, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And often that tribe might involve a lot of queers or women, and not necessarily a lot of the gay community. You know, especially in my position, but definitely it becomes something that's, what is that line from a Richard Bach novel, that rarely are members of one family born under the same roof. So the beauty is that we get to choose that family.
Yeah.
Now, when you're trying to choose it, and maybe if that family is what's led to Mansions and Mascara in a way.
I definitely think that Mansions and Mascara in a name is a dichotomy in and of itself, right? Like, what does that even have to do with each other? Mansions and Mascara, what does that even mean? Well, when I started that screen name, it was because I also own a real estate company. I'm a broker, and I have been the global creative director of a major cosmetic brand out of New York for many years and on television around the world for them. And so I needed something that would make it make sense, Jesus. Like, because I needed to beat everybody to the joke. Because people would go, I'll never forget this one guy. He was a part of the legitimate equal community, LGBTQIA. So he said, so what do you not do? Real estate, makeup, television. What do you not do? And I just looked at him and didn't bat an eye and said, go broke. Because the truth of the matter is, and I shared this with you, I don't have a college degree. I'm a high school dropout because of, coming out early. And I kind of made my own path. And a lot of times at the time, it didn't make sense. It was windy. And I was doing all of these different things that didn't really cohese with each other. And then in hindsight, makes complete sense, right? It's this, it just all kind of worked. And for whatever reason, many people from around the world, thanks to the power of social media, have embraced it. And so, but the name and the profession, the dichotomy of that is just a small part of it. Really, I am, you can put me on a farm and I can drive a tractor, I can chop down a tree, I can ride a horse, I can, all that kind of stuff. Or you can put me on a red carpet and on Park Avenue and I'm great. And I've sometimes I kind of pinch myself and go, what is my life? Because I really went from that small town as a shampoo assistant at a little salon for a horribly mean woman who drank way too many Diet Cokes.
Sounds like Trump.
It's not diet if you have 18.
Jesus.
I went from that to all of a sudden finding myself on television in Australia and New Zealand and Italy and Canada and the US, and I'm flying around and people are recognizing me and I'm going, should I be here? Like, it's that imposter syndrome kind of feeling.
I don't know if you would have this syndrome, because I came up with someone I was speaking to that you should meet after the new year. Definitely have to.
Okay.
And I love what he said. He said, I've never had imposter syndrome. Now, I'm sure that at some point in his life, he felt like he was faking it to make it.
I hate that term.
You do hate that
I do
term?
not use the term fake it to make it. I say that I believe it until I achieve it.
Amen. Believe it till you achieve it.
Because I've never faked anything.
Okay, there you go. And you make that shit happen.
Yeah.
In New York, you say, don't tell me no, baby. Make it happen.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things. But there are elements of time where I believe there are people who actually deal with the syndrome, and it really is a thing that it's been internalized for now going through therapy.
I still have it. I still have it. I have the life of my dreams, the love of my life. I'm just shy of 800,000 beautiful, amazing followers across all platforms. And they're so kind and so sweet. And they message me these inspiring stories about their life and their children. they're friends, and I pinch myself. I wake up every day in this beautiful city. I love Barcelona. I love the people, the food, the atmosphere. There's just something. I mean, just the sounds in the morning, and kind of inspire me and energize me. So I about once a day, I will have the feeling of, is all of this going to go away? Is this real? You know, I even called my partner. He's back in the United States. And I called yesterday, and I said, like, this is really happening, right? And he said, yeah, babe, this is real. I was like, okay. Because I just need that reminder.
You might even be bringing doggies with you.
They're not even might. They're coming on. They're walking onto the.
I do.
Yeah, they're being certified as a service dog now because that's what my poodle is. My standard poodle, the big poodle, is for. And for
Does she
two
have all
reasons.
her hair, or is she shaved like a bush?
Shaved like a bush?
Remember how they would make him look like those bushes, you know?
Yeah, that's what she looks like. She's a poodle. What do you want her to look like?
Because they don't do that here.
Rastafarian?
Well, poodles are full. They don't shave them.
Yeah,
here.
we're not doing that.
Oh, but it's so cute.
She's a poodle.
Oh my God.
She's a poodle.
It is a very different thing in Europe with poodles. It's very different. You'll see what I mean.
That's fine. I'll find a groomer that will do what I want them to do.
I want to ask you something because we have to start wrapping up in just a sec. But because of what we talked about a little bit ago, with the things that you get to do with Match and Mascara, with the energy that you give out, and follow that on My Children of the Corn as well, Matchins and Mascara. Again, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. But you get that energy from those people as well. That's an inspiration.
I get stories all the time from people that, because I just try to put out little funny, quippy comments, like just something that makes people laugh. Or I just think right now we need laughs, we need smiles. So I just try to spread a lot of positivity on there. If I do get a little serious or political, I try to put a funny twist on it and make it more palatable. But the number of people that message me, I had a woman message me the other day that her husband had just been diagnosed with cancer, and it was the hardest 3 weeks of her life, and these were her words. She said, your page and my faith got me through the last 3 weeks. And I just sat there, and I'm getting kind of emotional now, like I just sobbed, because that was a very unintended consequence. I never thought that my spirit of positivity would I just thought maybe a few people would like my videos. I didn't think it would be a thing. But when people message me these things, or the father that has messaged me about having an LGBTQIA child, which learned a new term, dragon parent. Apparently they're very fiercely protective of their queer kids. For him to message me and say, hey, I just want to let you know I'm straight, but I've got a daughter, or I've got a trans son, or I've got or I've got a lesbian child, and I love my child, and I love you, and I just want you to know that is so much positive energy that feeds your soul. I mean, it really does. My followers just make me feel like everything's going to be right with the world.
And that leads to the final question then, my love. If you could go back to your 16-year-old self to tell them something of an encouragement before the year that happened, what would you tell that? Because there are listeners who are young and going through something. What would you tell them if you could?
Just trust the process. That there is a place for you. You may not know it now, but there's a place for you in this world, and you belong, and you will contribute, and you will enjoy, and you will be loved.
Amen. And folks, that's what we're going to close it out with. That's a perfect, actually, holiday message, actually, from Mr. Christopher Macken, my beautiful Matches and Mascara. Give me that hand, man. That was such a beautiful way to close this out. Now, there's no way in hell that we're going to close it out without sending you a little bit of Christmukkah Kwanzaa love as well. Remember, folks, next week I'm going to be out of town, but the following we'll be back for our wrap-up for the new year. For the new year for this year as we enter the new year, and, of course, our Reyes show, which we do here. Remember, you can also follow the beauty of Mr. Christopher Macken at Mansions and Mascara, Children of the Corn. That is, again, on Instagram.
And you can also go to mansonsandmascara.com if you would like to email me directly, and I actually respond to all of them.
Yes, he does. I can attest to that because we had an incredible lineup, and it's something we manifested a different change, and I want to thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
And we're about to embark on a lovely friendship in a new city for everybody to take advantage of. Now, folks, remember, COVID is everywhere, okay? No, I'm kidding. I want you to get out there and spread some love, spread some light, and make it real. Because remember, there's a whole lot more to this holiday season than just buying. Remember, guys, Jesus is the reason for the season. And I'm kidding.
Is she? I'm just teasing.
Oh, you silly. But also, there's no way in hell that we're going to close out without another song that you also chose. Now, this song is called Ain't Going Down Till the Sun Comes Up.
Yeah.
And this is from actually one of my this is a shout out to my spirit mama, my mama's spirit, because she absolutely adored this man who is embroiled in some drama right now. But you know what, Garth Brooks, we love you and Trisha. And,
Trish. I feel like if you know her personally, she's Trish. She'll always be Trish to me. Hey, Trish.
I love it. We're actually going to tag that. All right, folks. Remember to keep it real, keep it love, and give love. Remember to love yourself as well. And if you have to look in the mirror and tell yourself that a few times a day, do it. It works eventually. All right. This is Garth Brooks with Ain't Going Down Till the Sun Come Up. This is The Club with Lucas here on 106.9 FM and English Radio BCN. And Mr. Christopher Macken, Matches and Mascara. Bye, everybody. Have a good holiday season. We'll see you in a couple weeks. Bye.
On Friday evening, Mama doesn't know she's leaving till she hears the screamer slamming, rubber squealing, gears are jamming. Local country station gets a blaring on the radio. Pick him up at 7 and they're heading to the rodeo. Mama's on the front porch screaming out her warning, girl, you better get your red head back in bed before the morning. 9 o'clock the show is in, but the fun is just beginning. She knows he's anticipating, but she's gonna keep him waiting. Grab a bite to eat and then they're heading to the honky-tonk. Loud crowds and line dancing just ain't what they really want. Drive out to the boondocks and park down by the creek, yeah, where it's George Strait or real late and dancing cheek to cheek. Ain't going down till the sun comes up. Ain't giving in till they get enough. Go around the world in a pickup truck. Ain't going down till the sun comes up. Starts a hard romance and 1 o'clock. That truck is rocking, 2 is coming, still no stopping. Break to check the clock at 3, they're right on where they wanna be. And 4 o'clock, get up the door, and 5 o'clock, that Rooster's yeah, they ain't going down till the sun comes up. Pickup truck. Ain't going down till the sun comes up. 6 o'clock on Saturday, her folks don't know he's on his way. The stalls are clean, the horse is dead. They say she's grounded till she's dead. Well, here